Your salary is a trap. And I don't mean that metaphorically. I mean, it is a mathematically designed system where you will never, ever outwork your way to actual wealth. And the most insulting part, the raise you're so proud of. Your employer already knew they'd give it to you before you even walked into that room. They budgeted it in January. You didn't earn it. You just didn't quit. Today I'm going to show you exactly what's happening behind the curtain and what people who actually build wealth do instead. I'm not saying don't ask for a raise. I'm saying if building wealth is the goal, you are playing the wrong game entirely. My name is Bare Bones Advice, and I spend way too much time thinking about why hardworking people stay broke. If you're someone who does everything right at work, but still feels like you're falling behind financially, make sure you hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if this helps you out. It genuinely helps the channel, and I promise we're going to get into some stuff today that's going to make you look at your paycheck very differently. I want to start by saying something that might sound harsh, but I mean it with love. The raise is not your financial plan. It was never supposed to be your financial plan. Somewhere along the way, we got sold this idea that the path to wealth is work hard, get promoted, get raises, retire comfortably. And that path works, it just works really slowly. Like, glacially slowly. Here's the math that most people never actually sit down and do. The median household income in the United States right now is around $74,000 a year. According to the U.S. Census Bureau, the average annual raise across industries including promotions is about 4.4%, according to data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics and multiple compensation surveys. So let's be generous and call it 4.5% per year. If you're making $74,000 today, and you get a 4.5% raise every single year for the next 30 years, you'll be making around $270,000 a year by the time you retire. That sounds amazing, right? Until you factor in inflation running at 3% annually. In real purchasing power, that $270,000 in 30 years is worth about $111,000 in today's dollars. You worked for 30 years and barely increased your actual lifestyle, and that's if everything goes perfectly. No layoffs, no industry disruptions, no companies deciding to outsource your department, which look around happens constantly. Now you might be thinking, oh, okay, but I'm trying to get promoted, not just raises. Fair, but promotions follow the same trap. You get a title, a little more money, and a lot more responsibility, and the ceiling just moved up a little bit. You're still trading time for money. You're still dependent on someone else deciding what you're worth. Here's what most people don't realize. Your salary is not your income potential. It's a cap. It is literally a ceiling your employer set on what they're willing to pay for your time. And no matter how good you are, most companies are not going to pay you more than roughly 2x your current salary in your same role. That's the raise game. You're fighting over percentage points within a range someone else defined. Here's the thing, and this is where it gets really interesting. The raise mentality isn't just a math problem. It's a psychological one, and it's one that most of us were trained into since we were kids. Think about school for a second. The entire system rewards you for doing what you're told, meeting expectations, and getting a good grade, which is essentially a performance review. Then you graduate, get a job, and the system is identical. Do what you're told, meet expectations, get your annual review, hope for a good number. There's a concept in behavioral economics called learned helplessness. It was first studied by psychologist Martin Seligman back in the 1960 seconds. The idea is that when a person or an animal is repeatedly exposed to situations where their actions don't change the outcome, they eventually stop trying to change the outcome. Even when they could, they just accept the conditions. I think a version of this happens to employees. Year after year, people learn that working harder doesn't always mean earning more, that their value is set by HR, not the market. And so gradually, without even realizing it, they stop thinking of themselves as someone who could earn dramatically more. They start thinking in percentages instead of possibilities. Maybe I can get to $80,000 by next year, instead of how do I get to $200,000 in 5 years? One is a question for your boss, the other is a question for you, and only one of them actually has the power to change your financial life, okay? So if raises are slow, what actually works? Let me walk you through 3 levers that dramatically outperform salary growth, and I'm going to show you the math on each one. Lever number 1. Income diversification. IRS publishes data on the income sources of high earners every year. Here's what it shows. People in the top 1% of income earners in the US, that's households earning over roughly $650,000 a year, receive less than 40% of their income from wages and salaries. The rest comes from business income, dividends, capital gains, and other non-salary sources. According to IRS statistics of income data, the higher you go up the income ladder, the less dependent people are on a single employer's paycheck. Now, I'm not saying you need to become a millionaire investor tomorrow, but I am saying that a second income stream, even a small one, changes the math dramatically. Let's say you start a small side hustle, freelance, writing, consulting in your industry, selling a digital product, tutoring, anything. You earn an extra $1,000 a month. That's $12,000 a year. Compare that to the raise you fought for, $1,500 after taxes. Your side hustle just earned you 8x what your raise did. And unlike your salary, your side hustle income has no ceiling. It's not capped by a salary band. It's only capped by your effort and your market. Lever number 2. Skills, investment returns, a number I want you to sit with. According to research from Georgetown University's Center on Education and the Workforce, adding a specific high-demand certification in fields like cloud computing, data analysis, or project management can increase earning potential by 20 to 40%. Not through a raise, but by making you eligible for a completely different job market. A 4% raise on $74,000 is $3,000. A 25% salary jump when you switch jobs, which is what the data says the average person gets when they change employers, according to ADP research, is $18,500. You did not get $18,500 by asking your current boss nicely. You got it by becoming more valuable to the market and then going to find the highest bidder. This is the thing that nobody teaches you. Loyalty to a single employer is one of the most expensive financial decisions you can make. Not because loyalty is bad, but because the market rewards movement and growth. The average person who stays at the same job for more than 2 years earns 50% less over their lifetime than someone who moves strategically, according to research cited by Forbes and backed by multiple labor economic studies. 50% less over a lifetime. That's the real cost of waiting for a raise. Lever number 3. Investment compounding vs. salary compounding. This one is where most people's brains break a little. So stick with me. A 4.5% annual raise compounds on your salary. A market investment also compounds, but here's the difference. The historical average annual return of the S&P 500, adjusted for inflation, is about 7% per year, and investment returns compound on the full balance, not just on what you put in this year. Let's compare. 2 people, both making $74,000. Person A fights for raises every year and gets 4.5% annually. By year 10, they're earning around $113,000. Great. Person B keeps their salary flat. No raise negotiation. No job changes, but takes just $500 a month and invests it consistently in a low-cost index fund earning 7% annually. After 10 years, they have about $86,000 invested. After 20 years, $261,000. After 30 years, $567,000. And they haven't touched their salary strategy at all. Now, imagine person B does both, invests and changes jobs every few years for better pay. The numbers become genuinely life-changing. The point isn't that you shouldn't negotiate your salary. The point is that if your entire financial strategy lives and dies on the raise, you're leaving massive value on the table. Alright, so let's get into what this actually looks like in real life. Because I know some of you are thinking, okay, Nick, that's easy to say, but I have bills. I can't just go build a side hustle or quit my job. Totally fair. Here's what I would actually do if I were starting from zero. Step 1. Audit your current income ceiling. Go to LinkedIn Salary, Glassdoor, Levels, FIE, if you're in tech, or the Bureau of Labor Statistics Occupational Outlook Handbook. Find what your role pays at the 75th percentile. If your salary is below that number, you are being underpaid by the market right now, and no raise from your current employer is going to fix that as fast as a job change will. Step 2. Identify one transferable skill you can monetize outside your job. Not invent a whole new career. Just take what you already know and find one way to offer it to someone who isn't your employer. You're a marketer? Freelance for a small business. You're an accountant? Do tax prep on the side. You're a teacher? Tutor online. The goal in the first 90 days isn't to replace your income. It's to prove to yourself that the market will pay you directly for your skills, without a middleman. Step 3. Automate a minimum of 15% of your income into investments before you do anything else. I don't care if that's $200 a month right now. The habit is more important than the amount. At first, use your employer's 401k up to the match, because that's a 50 to 100% instant return on your money, which no raise will ever compete with. And then a Roth IRA if you're eligible, and then a taxable brokerage account. In that order. Step 4. And this one is uncomfortable. Give yourself permission to leave. The single most powerful salary negotiation tool you have is a competing offer. Not your annual review, not your tenure, a written offer from another company. Research shows that 70% of employees who receive a competing offer and use it to negotiate get a counteroffer that matches or exceeds it. According to surveys by Glassdoor and Robert Half, your employer knows what you're worth. They just have no incentive to pay it until someone else is about to. I want to close with something that I think is the real unlock here. Because everything I've talked about, the side income, the job changes, the investing, none of it works unless you make one fundamental psychological shift. You have to stop thinking of yourself as an employee and start thinking of yourself as a business. That sounds like a glitch, but hear me out. A business doesn't wait for someone to give it a raise. A business looks at the market, identifies where it can deliver value, and goes to find the customers willing to pay for that value. A business diversifies its revenue. A business reinvests in its own growth. A business has an exit strategy. You are the asset. Your skills, your knowledge, your network, your output, that is the product. And right now, you may only have one customer, your employer. That is a terrifying amount of financial dependency to place on one relationship you don't control. The raise is not the enemy. Thinking the raise is enough, that's the enemy. Because when you shift from, how do I get my boss to pay me more, to how do I become worth more to the market, everything changes. Your career conversations change. Your skill development changes. Your relationship with money changes. And your bank account, over time, reflects all of it. Look, if you're in a job right now, working hard and feeling stuck, I want you to know that frustration is valid. You're not doing anything wrong. You've just been playing a game with rules that were designed to keep you incrementally comfortable rather than genuinely free. The raise is the consolation prize. The real game is building income that doesn't require someone else's permission. You're not doing anything wrong. You've just been playing a game with rules that were designed to keep you incrementally comfortable rather than genuinely free. The raise is the consolation prize. The real game is building income that doesn't require someone else's permission. So this week, I want you to do one thing. Just one. Go look up what your role pays at the 75th percentile in your market. That's it. Just find the number. Because once you see the gap between where you are and where the market says you could be, you'll never look at your annual review the same way again. If this video helped you out, hit that thumbs up. It genuinely helps more people find this content. Subscribe if you're new, and check out the video on screen right now, because it goes directly into how to negotiate a job offer the right way, so that when you do make that move, you're walking in with the maximum possible leverage. I'll see you in the next one.